Ray Allen Canine. It's no secret that we love Ray Allen Canine equipment. We use their products every single day at both Van Ness Canine and at Torchlight. Their mission statement says it all: to be the world leader in quality innovation for professional canine equipment for police, military, Schutzen, and ring sport. Tend to exceed their customers' expectations and deliver on time every time at a fair price. We full heartedly believe that they've held true to that since it is our go to one stop shop for everything canine, not just police dogs, but for any working dog.
This episode is also brought to you by our good friends over at Dogtra, dogtra.com. It's the e-collars that Ted and I use. It's the e-collars most police dog guys use. Dogtra.com, e-collars, bark collars, ball launchers, one-stop shop for everything you need for your working dog, dogtra.com.
One of the other sponsors we're proud to have is Hitz K9 Training Conference. It's the premier canine training seminar in the United States, packed to the brim with the world's best instructors covering important topics from admins to liability to detection work, all and tracking and everything in between. There's no better place to learn and no better place to network with other handlers, breeders, and trainers. Hitz 2022 is being held in Orlando in August. So hit them up, hitzk9.net.
We're super happy to be represented by our good friends at Kinetic Dog Food. We've got great reviews from people all over the place. Ever since we joined up with them and partnered with them, their commitment to your dog's nutrition is top notch. KineticDogFood.com. Check them out.
Jim over at NC Canine out in North Carolina. It's the culmination of 13 years of experience in handling or training law enforcement canines. They use real-world deployments to develop their training program and rely not only on their experience, but the current experience of the nation's canine handlers provide the best canine partner you can get. They provide pet training and police canine training based out of Four Oaks, North Carolina, and they serve the surrounding areas as well as nationally. Feel free to call them and learn more about their dog training program, police canine techniques, and methodologies.
We got a brand new sponsor, man, American Aluminum Accessories. My entire time in canine, and ever since I've been involved in the dogs, the kennel in the back of our cruisers has always been American Aluminum. Check them out. We're so happy to have them on here. EasyRiderOnline.com. EasyRiderOnline.com for everything you need from American Aluminum Accessories.
Speaking of kennels, once you get out of the car, you got to have somewhere to put them. So our friends up in Ohio at Horizon Structures make a one-stop shop for kennel. If you want a 2-dog kennel or if you want a 20-dog kennel, they got you covered. They get those things built and they drop it off at your house. All you got to have is a pad, electricity, and water, and you can put dogs in it that day. Horizon Structures can build you anything from mild to wild, and it is the one-stop shop, and you don't have to swing a single hammer. So hit them up, horizonstructures.com. All right, Working Dog Radio, broadcasting the bite. I am Ted Summers from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Back with me is Eric Sambro from Canton, Ohio. Eric, you were gone on the last episode. What the fuck happened?
Yeah, man. So most everybody knows that I got COVID on the 3rd is when I got sick. The 4th is when I got diagnosed. But we recorded an episode the night that I got sick, and it's the episode with the Ted handler. If you go back and watch, you can see that I'm sick. I knew it was COVID because I'm never ever sick. Never. I haven't had the flu in 5 or 6 years. Maybe one head cold in that same time that I could think back. So I knew I was screwed. But yeah, man, we're going to talk about my COVID experience in the second segment. Yep. But first, this is Working Dog Radio, so we're going to talk about dogs. So what do you got going on in the kennel, man? How's the new place? What's it look like? I see a lot of good work coming on. Pets galore.
Fucking, like by the time this uploads, the day after the day before this uploads. So by the time you're hearing this, I will have like 8 dogs dropped off at the same time, all for board and train. So I have plenty of shit to do. I have some golden doodles that are brothers that are just apparently shitheads. So they're just barking at everybody, and they have no boundaries. They turn over trash cans, they fuck shit up, and they're just like, then the owners are like, "Oh, we thought he would grow out of it." I'm like, "Nope,
that's not real."
No, that doesn't happen. So I am finishing up Gizmo Chacho. So if everybody, Giz was an interesting case. We can talk about it a little bit. It was kind of cool because We got him from our buddy Jeremy, up in Wisconsin. Jeremy Van Beeks, graduate of Tar Heel, like PSA decoy, super good dude. Works for HRD a little bit here and there.
Looks like a Yukon Jack type dude.
Yes, he does.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get this dog from him, and super nice dog. Genetically, Gizmo is nothing but hunt. And when I mean that's all he is, that's all that motherfucker is hunt, 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 24/7. I've never seen him sit still. Like every time I'm in the kennel, he's just doing. If you can't see me on YouTube, you're not on YouTube. He's just turning circles in his fucking kennel, and he's in a 5x10, and he's just pacing constantly like a fucking Malinois. And he's this little yellow lab. So anyway, the dog is green. When I say green, he had zero obedience, like nothing. Like motherfucker didn't. He would chase a tennis ball, and that was about it. So it was interesting because when we get these dogs in from Europe, a lot of times they have kind of like a little bit like they're used to being paid or being given something. Like they're used to soliciting the sit. So usually when we do the box protocol or something, we can get them to sit, and it usually goes pretty quick. Like they're like, oh fuck, this has worked in the past, right? Well, Gizmo, he he had no Rolodex of behaviors to like to go off of. So like getting him to sit on odor rather than freeze up was a fucking challenge. And I did a big old Patreon video on it, on how we did it. And now, I mean, he still has no obedient sit. Like you tell him to sit, and he'll look at you. And so, I mean, he'll sit.
By the way, that's a good video on Patreon. It's real.
Yeah, he'll sit for odor though. Bet that shit. He finds odor, he'll fucking his ass goes down. So it was an interesting problem to solve because kind of how I did is I backed up and I used a clicker, and I didn't feed him for 2 days. And then I taught him how the clicker works real quick. And then I let him, like, I kind of shaped him into a sit, and he was like, oh. And then, another couple of minutes or a couple of days later, he's like, oh, he made the connection. And he's not the brightest dog in the box or in the brightest crayon in the box, but he'll hunt his fucking ass off. He's a super nice dog. He's going to a department in uh, South Dakota, and the handler will be here in June, mid-June, for handler schools. So, and then I've got some green dogs we're working. Got my interns, got the VA program about done. That should be up and running here pretty quick. And yeah, I mean, my landlord's going to install some floor drains. We got them cut. So now the entire section where the kennels are in is built like a giant shower. And I could just fucking hose it down with a Wizzy wash every day. And it goes straight into the straight city sewer and just fucking squeegee that shit into the floor drains and done deal.
So the Gizmo dog, is he dope or explosives?
Narcotics, dope. Yeah.
Yeah. Is he doing weed or no?
Yes. South Dakota is probably one of those states, kind of like Kansas, that I think even if the federal government were to legalize it, unschedule it, or however you want to say that, they would probably still like regulate the shit out of it, which I mean, it's their prerogative. I don't care. But I mean, I have dogs in Arkansas. It's been legal in Arkansas since 2013, and there hasn't been a legal gram of weed sold in Arkansas. So states' rights, baby. They can do whatever they want. So
yeah, no shit. What about dual purpose mouths you got going? I know you got a couple fucking killers in there.
We got fucking Racky. Racky bit my fucking intern Paul. Paul moved too fast around him, and he was like, "Oh shit!" And it's one of the. So speaking of like dogs that come over from Europe that have the a lot of behaviors already ingrained. This dog. So the Europeans prepare dogs for how Americans test dogs, right? And every trainer or whatever thinks they got the fucking secret sauce on how they test dogs. So anyway. He has no problem fucking biting. That is not his. I could train him and not have him bite till the end of handler school, and he would be fine. And that's all that motherfucker wants to do is bite. And he'll bite a fence post if I stick it in his face. He's a nice dog. I'm having to put some control on him before we do anything with him. So I've been working on that. And then
he's not a little boy either.
No, he's a big kid and he's athletic. I had to put so he's in one of the pre-fit kennels. He's in a 5x10. And the panels are 6.5 feet tall, and I had to put a thing on top of it because he'll jump and his head will hit the top of the.
It's nuts. I remember seeing it. Like I'm like, what you looking at me over the thing here?
Yeah, he's one of the most athletic Malinois at that size, and he's probably 80, He's 80. He's close to 80 pounds. He's a big kid. He bites fucking hard. And then we got C Money. We got Carlos. Carlos is kind of the opposite in size, and he's just fucking full of himself 24/7. He's got those little Dorito chip ears. They're like teeny tiny. He's got this little black face, and he's not very big. He's about 55 or 60 pounds, but god damn it, he's an asshole. And once he warms up to you, you're good to go. But he's come after me a couple times. I just be in the kennel cleaning, and because I got a stick in my hand, he's like, "Oh, really?" And it's on. And he's like, I mean, he's pretty much done. But I think got a department in southern Oklahoma that's probably going to come up and look at him next week. And we may put him in the handler school with the single purpose dog. And then I had another one, Snappy, Mr. Snap, that went to our buddy Billy up in
in Colorado.
Yeah, up in Longmont PD.
Cool.
Another big ass athletic Malinois.
It looks exactly like Racky.
Yeah.
You sent me pictures like who's who. I'm like,
well, yeah, when they showed up, they both had red collars on, and you're like, "Oh, he's the one with the red collar." I'm like, "Bro, they both have fucking red collars on." So I was like, but once they were there for a little bit, I could figure out which one was which. But no, Snap's a cool dog. Billy is doing a good job with him. He had him there for like a week and was already introducing him to OC and CS. So he's
gonna be a SWAT dog.
Yeah, most of those guys, from what I gather up there, Billy was telling me that they have the option of being like exposed to that all the time. So Billy's dog Rudy definitely is. Billy is one of our associate instructors for HRD, and him and his sergeant and lieutenant came down. Tim hung out for a couple days, and we played with all of the doggies. So yeah, what do you got going on up there?
So right now I've got 4 mouths and 2 labs that I got from Jeremy. Little tiny little girls. The one, Luna, is going to be a dope dog. The agency's using her in the school system. Oh. So the school resource officer will have the dog. And then the other one is going to be explosive dog. The sheriff's office that jurisdiction is the airport in Canton, Akron Canton Airport. They'll use her there. Sorry, that's going to happen a lot, guys, and we'll talk about that. But so what I'm doing with those two is they're kind of, it's weird. They Jeremy, I believe he told me they were they're farm dog hunting line dogs, kind of semi-domesticated, but had never had a leash on before Jeremy got him, and he had him for, I don't know, a few weeks before I got him. And so teaching them that kind of like a puppy. They didn't scream like little puppies do sometimes, but definitely we're a little weird with leash. But now, like, the one is kind of like
green.
Right. Oh, yeah. The one Piper is like that gizmo dog you're talking about. Except she doesn't run. She jumps. Dude, they're little dogs.
Yeah.
And she can jump even, looks just up in my face. And I'm only 5'8", but for a dog that looks to be about 32 pounds, woo, up. Both labs, they have bark collars on too.
Oh yeah. Oh, Gizmo Gizmo has one on. Yeah.
Well, it's funny, and this is I talk about this all the time on my Instagram page about the YS600, the dogs for bark collars. Is if the one dog, Luna, doesn't have it on, she'll spin herself up and pee in her kennel.
Oh yeah.
Or pee in her crate overnight. If she has a bark collar on, there's none of that. There's so many ancillary things that happen with it. And there's another dog I'll talk about in here in a second, named Rocky. Same thing. He will piss in his kennel in his crate if he doesn't have a bark collar on. Now, in fairness, though, when I go in, say in the morning, Luna goes first. She's out first. I mean, she's little. She goes right out first. Rocky goes out. I come back at the other lab. It's all real, because I know who's going to pee if we wait a little bit too long. So, but anyways, I got those two going. I'm actually doing the, back when we had Pat Nolan on and he was talking about the, the little toilet flange thing he built. A lot of people use them. They have the PVC elbow. I've had those things, dude, since that episode came out. I remember going to Menards and listening to the episode and going, oh, okay, that he's talking about that. Bought a shitload. I made a whole bunch of them. Never used them. I'm a box guy. The floor boxes, the regular square boxes. But these two, like the one dog Luna, I don't know that she could get up on a 12-inch box and put her nose in it. I could put it on the floor. So I'm just kind of free shaping them on the odor with clicker food. Find it, clicker food. The bomb dog Piper's catching up. She's catching onto it faster. I now have 5 boxes out, and or whatever you call them, tubes, and she's getting the game of coming to me, because right now I was just marking them with clicker and then free and then come back to me. Right. I don't know that that's what I'm going to do, but it was a nice little game but now Jordan, who's like an assistant trainer of mine, we are sitting behind the tubes and throw a piece of food. They go get it. They come back and then we feed through the tube. They're getting that. The bomb dog's getting it so fast. When you try to change and rotate the tubes, she's on it faster than you can. As soon as you set it down, you got to be quick. The bomb dog Luna, the little tiny one, she is, I have to go back. I jumped ahead, I put 3 or 4 tubes out. I got to go back to 1 and then probably 2, but I got to get her. She's getting it. It's just that she's so focused on that fucking pouch of food that I have.
That was an interesting problem that we kind of similar had with Gizmo. So everybody that follows me online knows that I use Dutch boxes, right? And I'll use ball poppers too, like the protocol, like you do. So I started on Dutch boxes, and Gizmo, because he's a lab, he likes people. He's super social. So the person running the box was a major distraction to him. And then he doesn't like to play tug. So the whole point of the Dutch boxes, for the most part, is like playing tug and odor, right? Like that's part of the whole fucking thing, right? And he just, because he's a lab, he's kind of soft mouthed, and like you said, he's kind of one of those farm line dogs, and he just doesn't really play tug. He'll turn shit over to get a tennis ball though. So and he'll hunt his ass off in grass to like go get it. So we tried for a little bit with the Dutch boxes. I was like, nah, this isn't going to work. So we switched and went to the ball poppers, and like the video that we have on Patreon shows it's like what happened. He's going to be a fucking rock star. So
yeah,
it was an interesting.
This is the difference between like training a lot of dogs and then a one-off that train hardly any, or this is also a problem with training groups that are just handlers that don't have a trainer, is problem solving.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you a story here in a second about a dog, Jack, that I have that we've put videos up on Patreon, who is a freaking maniac. So he had completely changed. So, but yeah, with that Luna dog, and I haven't imprinted a dog using food on odor in a long time. I just use the boxes. I have a pretty good system with it. Toy reward for it, using hand fed, for a while, and then maybe I go to the ball poppers. But I'm kind of liking it a little bit. These two hunt like crazy for. And the funny thing is, I don't think they've ever seen a tennis ball prior to this. Is Kongs and rubber pipe, little tubing and stuff,
the little blast hose thingies or whatever.
Yeah. So I'm kind of mixing it up for them. They're like the food, I don't feed them, then they get to work for it. They're food whores, both of them. But so that's been fun. The COVID stuff set us back. I just started going, and then I was out for a long time. So then I have 2 green mouths that I sold as green dogs. They're going to departments that I've trained dogs for before. I sold them green because the local agency is supposed to hold they need a dog themselves. They had a dog die from cancer. So they're supposed to host a handler school to replace that dog. Well, they don't charge for the handler schools. It's free. So it's smart for the agency to buy the dog green, pay me $8,500 instead of $16,000 for dog and handler school. They can get it for free. The problem is, now we don't know if that agency is going to have a class yet. it's whatever. So I have a class scheduled for the fall. I might be running it. I might not. I don't know yet. I'll do a quick little short one for the bomb dog's handler's his third dog. And then the dope dog handler.
Yeah.
I'll do a few weeks with him. But so then I got a shepherd in while I was in the hospital last week. One of my guys went over and met. You guys saw David Rivera from Black Rock K9. We had him on there. I got a shepherd from him. I don't keep shepherds in the kennel. I only get them on request because there are so many horrible German shepherds coming from Europe. David got a shipment of dogs in, like 15 dogs, and 4 of them were shepherds. All 4 shepherds had to go back. This agency that I'm giving this dog to, they want a shepherd. Okay, cool. Dude, this fucking dog is insane. And I messaged him today. I go, so does he know anything, any command? Because that does not appear to be the case. And he said, he laughed and he sent me, because all his dogs come with like Sedney and Laney and, you know, not German, not Dutch. That dog doesn't know shit. He knows how to jump on everything that he sees. He's
bite stuff.
1,000 miles an hour, dude. Bite, hunt for shit, smash through stuff. I took him and at the fun house. He's going, there's no environmental problems at all with the dog. 150 miles an hour. He does not know sit at all in any language. So kind of talking about Gizmo, I got to start there. Like, we're going to have to calm him down. We get him out, man. And he's like, snap.
Yeah.
All over
I had to get in the
hand. I'm like, what the fuck?
Dude, I had to get in the kennel with Gizmo. And like, that's how because if I get him out, he's just, I mean, so I got in the fucking 5x10 with him and I didn't feed him for 2 days and just started like started loading the clicker like I do with puppies and like pet dogs. And I mean, that like, it's the only thing I could do. So,
yeah. So I'm going to, same thing. I'm going to hand feed him. Try to get a little bit of clear headed because he's driven, buddy. So he's got a lot of fun. But, the other dog that's in my kennel that I got from David. So here's the thing, guys. The dogs that Ted and I have been getting that we get from David at Black Rocks, we talked about in the episode with him. Dude, he knows what we like. They're fucking bangers, buddy. Like I said, he sent 4 dogs back to Europe. It's kind of like our one of our sponsors, NCK9. Those guys, same thing. Dog comes in. If it isn't a banger coming right out of the crate at the airport, get the fuck out. Jim does not mess around. Him and David are the same type of people. I really enjoy that about him. And David, meeting him is closer than going to Dulles Airport. It's we pick the time. Usually it's like 11 or 12, 11 a.m. or noon. 3.5 hours, 4 hours. Same for him. Boom, gone. It's so much nicer than. It's like a 14-hour day to go to Dulles, down and wait a while and back. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
but
I've got to fucking Houston.
Right? Yeah, you got to.
Especially now with the Rona, like that's the closest airport that they'll fly dogs into.
Well,
they can fly them into Dallas, but it's like an extra fucking $1,700 or something. It's like $3,000.
And I don't even think anymore they're using Dallas. The Animals to Fly, which is what most of us use, the company over in Europe. If you're coming out of Frankfurt or Amsterdam. That's most what everybody uses. Niles, the guy that owns the company, sent out an email with the list of airports that they'll ship to and prices. So the prices, guys, listen, if you're Shallow Creek and you're bringing in 40 dogs in a week, you're not getting much of a break anymore. It's not much less than I paid for 3. Not like it used to be. We've said that before. They're trying to get rid of shipping dogs, I think. But I thought Dallas was taken off the list. There's only like 8 airports in the entire United States now they'll ship to. JFK, Miami, Houston, Dulles, Atlanta, of course,
Houston,
LAX. There's not many. Dallas might have been on there, but I didn't see it.
It's fucking expensive. Well, I haven't shipped one in there in a long time because it costs. I didn't even ask anymore. But yeah, so it's been COVID. We talked about that during his episode. COVID has fucked up a bunch of stuff for shipping and for dogs. I've had several people inbox me and they're like, I've got a great single purpose dog. And I'm like, I bet you do. He's on the wrong side of the ocean though. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, he's only 2,000 euros. I'm like, and the shipping is 2,500 euros. It's a fucking $6,000 single purpose dog. Like, what do you want me to do with him? Like, what am I supposed to fucking do with that? So, and speaking of which, I just bought a puppy from Tim Kiesling.
Oh, did you? Nice.
Yeah, he had that breeding of I can't remember the dog's name. The male's name, I call him Pikachu. It's something. It's like he's gonna hear this and get all pissed off. It's like Raku, I think, or Roku, or no, Roku's the Netflix thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like anyway, and the dam's name is Zoom. But they're gonna be nice puppies. So I got one as a project. If I can get the VA program approved here, which it should be done, I want to order another one for my guy
for whoever comes in.
Yeah,
kind of raise them up. Yeah, that'll be cool. That's a good idea. So the dog Jack that I have in the kennel is a Mal. I love him. Like, I'd work him on the street. I love this dog. He's the one people have seen in my videos on my Instagram, just jumping and just doing flips the whole time. And he has to have a roof on his kennel because he's met me at the kennel door like 3 times. Chicken wire roof does not work. I had to put a whole prefert serious freaking roof on the thing. Because that sucks. You open the door, you're like, oh shit, what are you doing? And then there's shit everywhere. And he's smashed stuff, found the food, just all kinds of things. But he is at the top end of prey drive that I don't want any more than that. You know, we've talked about that before, what that's like with a dog that's so high in prey that can almost be unmanageable. He's not unmanageable. He is almost unmanageable. It's real close. But I have him now. I can take him off leash with an e-collar. He checks in, so he works. But everything is just a million miles an hour. So what I do with him, it's funny, is I either from the crate or the kennel, I open the door, I let him run to the front door of the kennel. He does the same thing every time. He runs, bounces off the door, and then comes back full speed and launches into me. So he doesn't bite me. He just comes and crashes. So now it's this whole thing where I, ole, and he goes right by me. And he'll do it twice. He goes up, and the next time my foot's out. Bonk, right in the chest. But he's fun. So what we had to do is, and the Patreon subscribers know what I'm talking about, because my plan was to make a series on box protocol the way I do it. Got a green dog, high drive. We're going to do it. So it went from showing box protocol, then showing the next video was box protocol for a psycho, right? And then after I think like the 3rd or 4th series, like which would be the 3rd or 4th set of reps, it turned into, okay, we have to come up with plan B and do this differently. Because what he was doing was go to the box, and I'm quick. Like in the very beginning, it's just as soon as the nose hits, I'm in there and I pop the ball up, right up through the box, right? Well, then fractions of a second weren't fast enough. So he started grabbing the box. Now, I've had dogs grab the box before. It's not that big a deal. I've had dogs grab the box where we have to use the e-collar and a prong collar, and it fixes itself. It did not fix itself with him. He got so beside himself. And what people don't see on the video, he came here without an out of any sort, on a toy, bite, of course, nothing. So, and we had to jump on this right away. I sold him. He's sold to an agency in Indiana. So I got him, and we started work right away. We would go out in the hallway across the hall to another room and fucking murder wrestle this dog over the toy, even with 2 toys. And then back to work, right back in, right to work. So what he was doing was he started grabbing the box, and I started seeing his canines actually sink into the wood. And corrections didn't work, nothing. So he started picking the box up and throwing it. And I was like, motherfuck, man. So what we did was we went over to my wall room. You've been there. Other people have seen it. It's another room that has a big horseshoe shaped wall with a series of holes in it. And So what we started doing was an indirect protocol where the dog, as soon as he gets, we weren't using a clicker, we were using yes. So Jordan was handling him. As soon as his nose hits the odor, yes, and come back. We had to, teach him to come back to a tug toy. And so we started doing that. Dude, we imprinted because he's also a weed dog, because I think Indiana also is like, fuck your weed.
Yeah.
So he's so we imprinted those 4 odors so fast. The problem was he's coming, he gets it. Yes. And he is coming so fast. And I have a ton of videos of it on Patreon. And Jordan at first was throwing the toy like, fuck that, right. Cause he hadn't worked, and he went through my trainer's course with some high drive dogs, but not this. And so Jordan, though, started targeting him pretty good. He'd catch him, and he's slamming into the opposite wall. I had my phone up there, and it would knock it over. It was hilarious. It makes for a good video. He's seeing bam, and the phone falls. But it became, so then what was happening, he was doing it on his own so fast. We started creating, we were going to create a bridge marker, right? We're going to use the word good. And I think in my videos, I did it once. Good. And it started to work a little bit. And you hear me in the video go, I fucking hate that. So we just started using his stay command because he knew it, right? We started, at this point, we have not put a final in him. I'm on the, am I gonna do an indirect the whole time? Or am I gonna do a direct, reward at the thing? And I talked to the guy, it's his second or third dog that's getting the dog. He's like, yeah, I've never done the indirect at all. I just reward. I'm like, fuck, we better do this. Yeah. So what I started doing is, as soon as he would hit it, bam, reward, bam, reward. And remember, folks, you're trying to do this shit. You cannot do it by yourself. You need 2 or 3 people to help you.
Especially if they're that fast.
Right. So it started working. And then we started putting the sit in it, which, he knows sit. Sedney is his sit. He knows it. But there's a whole point of popping forward. We're working on that. As soon as that's hit, I'm rewarding him. Now he's got it. He goes, finds it, and waits. He started kind of doing this a little bit, not completely turning around, but like a fucking prey drive mouth, like whoa. And then we just started adding time, Zustan, slowly getting it. Dude, he is going to be a murderer of dope, man. Murderer. And he tracks, dude, this dog at that old school that I use I think you've been there too. He tracks the other dogs in the hallway. Tracks a dog down. I had a dog in there the other day. We were working the hall and up the steps, one of the labs. He tracked that fucker down the hallway and up the steps. I was like, damn. So when we do tracking, he's on a mile already. I mean, he fucking kills it. So I really like him a lot. And he's clean in the kennel, poops twice a day in the same spot every time. I couldn't ask for an easier dog than that. It's just that he will climb the fuck out of there if you let him and destroy your place.
You've already worn the fucking handle. Like, make sure his shit's got a top on it.
Yeah, I told him, get a roof.
And don't open. Well, I don't let him leave the center divider over and open anyway. But just he'll tear. He guarantee you he's gonna. Well, it's not his first dog, so he's not gonna let him tear up the fucking computer and tear up the headrest.
Yeah, and I don't know that Jack could be a house dog. I don't know if he could transition into it because he does not have much of an off switch. The funny thing is, so in my van, I have 6 crates stacked 3 and 3, and then I have 2 on the side. His place is the far left top. Launches up there, goes up there. He actually just chills in that. That's the best down time I ever see out of him, is driving around and that, bobbling around on that top thing, and he just chills. The rest of the dogs are getting, when they're brand new, or whining and bitching, and he just, but when you open it, you have to catch him.
Yeah.
So I've got real good at standing there, and I can reach up and open it. And when he jumps, I have the thing already open on the leash, catch and hook. Yeah, real fast.
Before you open the door, you're looking to see where the D ring is.
Right.
Like,
did it move?
Yeah. I believe. Yeah. Snap was like that, or Racky's like that. And he's not that fast, but yeah.
Right. So we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break. We come back. We're going to recap my past month a little bit and kind of tell you my experience with the whole thing. So don't fast forward through the commercials. We have some great sponsors in there, and we'll be right back. We have a long-standing relationship with the guys over at Hitz K9 Training Conference. It's truly America's premier canine seminar. It is the largest. It is the best. They cover every important topic in the canine industry. Hundreds and hundreds of vendors, thousands of canine people there. Everybody you know in this industry is there. Ted and I will be teaching. Hitz 2022 is being held in Orlando, Florida, August 16th to the 19th. Also, check out their website, hitzk9.net. They have other classes that they're putting out online, Zoom classes and all kinds of other things. They're offering in-person classes leading up to Hitz 2022, Orlando, Florida, August 16th to the 19th. Check it out, hitzk9.net.
Everyone knows that I live on chicken nuggets and Coors Light. So that doesn't mean your dog should, though. Our friends at Kinetic are make it a point to fuel working dogs, and they know that it can be tough, and they need high quality food, unlike me, to give them energy and the nutrients that they require. I just subsist on air and Coors Light, but the dogs can't. They actually have to work. So for that, we asked Kinetic, and Kinetic has come up with a great balance of healthy meats and grains, and is made specifically for working and sport dogs. They have a full line of foods and supplements available, and they've been working to perfect their line for thousands of dogs in hundreds of departments across the U.S. You can buy it locally online or at Tractor Supply, or you can get it at Chewy. So head over to their website, kineticdogfood.com, 513-615-6904, and get them on the socials at Kinetic Dog Food.
So probably the number one product I've ever advertised for or used that does what they say is Quick Derm by Vet Care. I have it at my house. I have it at the kennel. I have it at the fun house. I have it at the doggy daycare. I have my trainers have it at their house. It is unbelievable how it works. You guys have all heard Ted and I talk about it, how we've gotten tagged by dogs, or dogs do, if you're dealing with working dogs, weird stuff happens, right? Cuts that, how the hell that happened? Bites, scratches, all kinds of things that happen, especially if you're doing anything in the wooded area, they get tore up. The Quick Derm by Vet Care, it is no exaggeration. It is great. So once daily treatment for any skin condition or small wounds to help stop little issues from becoming big ones. Comes in sprays, ointments, or dressing. Quick Derm is great at creating a protective barrier and promoting wound healing. The best thing, too, is they have a discount code. Get on their website, vetcare.us. That's vetcare.us. Put in the discount code 10WDR in capital letters, 10WDR, for 10% off your first order.
These next guys have actually been on the show, and we instructed at the first Tripwire conference down in Florida. Jim O'Brien was a guest on the show, and he runs NCK9, who has now come onto the show as a sponsor. Jim's been around for quite a long time, about 13-ish years, with experience handling and training law enforcement canines. He uses real-world deployments to develop training program and not rely only on their experience, but current experiences from most of their national canine teams and handlers to provide the best canine partner that you guys can purchase. They provide pet training and police canine services based out of Four Oaks, North Carolina, and they serve the surrounding areas. Feel free to give Jim a call, a text, carrier pigeon, however you want to get a hold of him, to talk to him about police canine training or pets and techniques and methodologies. So hit him up at 919-438-0141 or J. O'Brien. That's JOBRIEN at NC, letter K number 9.us. Check the show notes. We'll put it there. All right, we're back. Working Dog Radio, broadcasting the bite. We've been catching up on what we've got going on at the kennels, respectively, up in Canton and down here in Tulsa. And talking about, it sounds like we both had some detection issues. We both trained a lot of fucking dogs, and we both had problems with dogs that are like, how am I going to fix this? This dog has to work. Like, I got to figure this out. So, not the last episode with the detection dogs from Hawaii, but the episode before, everybody, if you watched it, you noticed that Eric looked like shit.
Yes.
So more than normal. I mean, you looked terrible and you
Fair
sounded
enough.
terrible. And so what happened?
So the weekend, my new Ridgeside K9 facility opened May 3rd, right? So the weekend prior to that, and I'm telling you, probably like most everybody, I'd probably been exposed to COVID 100 times, whatever, more than that. The doctor, and I was in the hospital last week, he goes, dude, it's everywhere. He goes,
Yeah.
now they believe that if somebody coughs or sneezes, it's like 2 or 3 hours lingering around. So I've been exposed. I'm like, yeah, I got my O positive blood is doing its job. I'm good to go. Well, the weekend prior to that, finishing up all the work in the building, I'm working with the contractor in there, 17-hour days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, very little sleep, eating shit food and all that. And it caught me. I don't know where I got it, but I have my suspicions. So the Monday opening, I'm in there in the building. I worked there all day. Didn't do anything with police dogs. Opening, all our daycare dogs followed us from the other location to this place, so we're right away busy on that. People are stopping in. There was a big newspaper article and
I saw that.
and a TV thing. So, newspaper articles, the only people that still physically read the newspaper are older folks. So they all stopped by and want to check it out. And it was real cool. We booked a bunch of people from that. So around 12:30, I started getting like congested. And I've had, pollen allergies my whole life. They haven't been bad the last few years, but I looked at I don't know about where you're at in Tulsa, but in Ohio right now, pollen is through, like, everything's yellow. Everything's covered in it. It's been real bad. They talk about it on the news and all that shit. So I was like, yeah, that's probably it. And about six o'clock, I was like, yeah, no, I don't really feel all that great. I went in the back in the employee area and laid down and fell asleep. So about 7.
For any of those that know Eric, that is highly out of character. Right.
Yeah, I don't take naps.
Yeah.
So I just laid back there. We closed at 7, but there was just a lot going on. So there was a lot of people there still, employees and everything. I left at 7. It's a 30-minute drive to the kennel. I had all my dogs in the van. 30-minute drive to the kennel. By the time I got to the kennel, I thought I had been run over by a steamroller. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm fucked. So took care of the dogs, went home, recorded the podcast with you and the Ted handler. And if I could have got tested that night someplace, I would have. But I started quarantining myself in the house, slept in the spare bedroom got up early because about 45 minutes from here, little town Salem, where our buddy Mike Garber works, is a clinic that does early morning walk-in rapids. And so I walk in, go in there, I go in the back. They do 2 swabs, one for COVID, which was in the nose. It wasn't horrible. It was just a giant thing. Right. Q-tip. Wasn't bad. And she goes, I'll swab you for the flu. Just so you know, no one has the flu. Nobody.
Yeah.
It's not even around.
Just swab you for polio too, just in case.
Right. So here's your AIDS swab. And anyways, it looked like it was different than the cotton swab. And the end of it looked like a tiny, tiny, hard plastic toothbrush.
Yeah, like a toilet brush almost.
Oh, yeah. Is that what they had to do to you? Did they have that little thing, or did they use a cotton thing?
No, they used one of those.
Dude, it was horrible.
Brushes. Yeah, it was terrible.
She told me, she goes, this really sucks, just so you know. Put her hand on the back of my head. And listen, I'm a very good patient. I take a lot of pain. That fucking sucked. And but anyways, the doctor comes in and him and I are talking, and I think it was 10 minutes, 15 minutes. She pops her head. Yep, COVID. I'm like, fuck. So I drive 45 minutes home. And so for the first few days, that's a Tuesday, the 4th. First few days was the flu. Like people talk about, oh, it's just the flu. Well, for some people, that's true. At the end of I want to say Wednesday or Thursday, I started coughing. Right. And I still 3-4 weeks later, have a cough that they tell me could be months and months. It's non-productive. It's a very weird feeling, dry cough. It would be nice if things came up with it, but it does not. It's absolutely just an annoyance. So I started that. Fever's there. I get a pulse ox, and the doctor before I left gave me a steroid, Z-Pack. I think that was it. Yep, go start taking this. This will help with the cough. This is Z-Pack, antibiotics, whatever. I go, and I've talked about this on my Instagram. I made a couple videos just to tell people what my experience was. But I'm doing this again because surprisingly, there's a lot of listeners that still don't follow Ted and I's personal account. Van S K9 on Instagram, Ted_Summers or Torchlight K9 or Torchlight Pets. I personally am confused by that, but whatever. We still love you guys. So anyways, I start having the coughing, fevers. I'm fighting that off, but the steroids cause you to not sleep. People that have been on a lot of steroids can attest to that. So I made it. I had a pulse ox. I borrowed a pulse ox from a friend of ours, and I was told, you want your O2 level here. If it drops below here consistently, go to the hospital. And I was keeping it in the 90s. And when I would have a coughing fit, it would drop into the 80s, but I could stand there, breathe, catch my breath, calm down. It would come back up. Because the coughing fits were really bad, like to the point where I thought I was going to puke. And I'm trying to take the zinc, the vitamin D, all this other shit, like every morning, a pile of things. And one day, I think 3 or 4 days, I puked after I took all the meds. I didn't eat anything. Blech. It was horrible.
That's the zinc. That'll 100%.
Oh, is that what it is?
Oh,
I'm a loud puker.
No, and I am too. If I take zinc anything, if we're on an empty stomach, you will 100% vomit. Like I ate a vitamin one or like a gummy bear one time that had it. Like it was like a vitamin gummy, and I had it for 5 minutes, and I went outside and just puked my guts out in the front yard. It's like, oh, not that again. But,
well, then I'm like, well, do I retake all that stuff? I didn't. And they had given me an inhaler. I've never used inhaler, right? I don't. I'm all fucked up. So, like I said, if they gave me an inhaler in the past, I never used it. I never take meds, nothing. So, dealing with all that, but I'm not sleeping, right? And so the headaches start about Thursday, and the headaches were on a level of something that I've never even fucking heard of. People talk about migraines, and migraines are probably very similar to this. The only difference is I had a headache for almost 3 weeks that was sitting here and would not go away no matter what I did. The doctor's office told me to do the whole ibuprofen, Tylenol protocol, where you switch it every 4, 5, 6 hours, whatever it was.
Yep.
That a tiny little bit, but it was ever present. And it started making me dizzy all the time. And the medicine was fucking me up, dude. I got this high potent cough medicine called in. I took it once. Fuck that. I fucking threw it out. I don't know if it's codeine. What's that?
Was it lean? Was it purple?
No. It might have been. I told you I got to add some shit to it.
That stuff
was not good.
I refuse to even. They've given to me that once. I was like, I'll just cough. I'll just die. Dude, that stuff. I don't know how. What's his name? What's the rapper that drinks that shit all the time? Lil Wayne.
Oh, I don't know, but he's going to kill him. He's going to die from it.
Yeah.
It makes me feel weird. I can't stand it. I can't. All day long, I was in a brain fog, as I described it. Brain fog. I hated the feeling. But still not sleeping at night. Not even for an hour. So what happens is probably about Thursday or Friday, hallucinations start at night. I start hallucinating. And this lasts the entire through that weekend all the way through the next weekend, hallucinations. So what happened is I'd go to bed and I'm like, I feel pretty good. I think I'm going to sleep. And then I would start this whole psychotic, wicked scenario in my bedroom. And I was locked in the spare bedroom in my own personal hell all night long. And so what it looked like I was floating above my bed. Now here's the weird thing. I thought I had another head right here, and I'll get in that in a second. I could physically see another head. So I'm floating out of the bed, and there's a patient in the bed, which is me. And the whole time I'm helping this patient, hey, dude, you got to roll over. You got to roll over. You got to roll over. Move over. Get on your stomach because of the coughing. Get on your stomach. Roll over. And I'm physically rolling the patient over. And then when I'd start coughing, I, as the whatever I am eating the cough for me. But in reality, I'm laying on my fucking face in the bed. I'm not up. I'm not doing anything. So what would happen is I'd get the coughing, I get that settled down. And then this head would start dreaming about whatever YouTube video is what I was watching before I went to bed. And it would play it on a loop. So
what the fuck?
I was watching, I watched for like 4 nights in a row. Sammy the Bull Gravano has a podcast and he just tells mafia stories. But it's really weird. He's got dark light. He now has full sleeve tattoos and he looks like a gremlin. He just sits back in a chair with his arms up and he tells these Cosa Nostra stories. And it's insane. All fucking back and forth, floating over the coughing patient, Sammy the Bull Gravano, floating, Sammy the Bull, not sleeping, and maybe getting an hour a night of 5 minutes at a time before I'd start coughing. I'd be standing in the middle of the room, getting my fucking breath down. Well, Sunday night, so I got sick Monday. The following Sunday night was a pure hell. I couldn't get my numbers back up. I stayed in the 80s. I couldn't catch my breath. So I woke up. I got out about 5 a.m. and I had a fever, fucking blinding headache. I popped my head in my all masked and fucking gloves and everything. And I tell my wife I'm going to the emergency room. So I said, I'll drive myself up. So I get to the emergency room which is 30 minutes. I think I showered first. I can't remember. 6:30 on a Monday. Luckily, there's nobody there. So I go in, tell them everything going on. They will not give me anything for sleep because they are afraid it would bring my breathing rate down.
Yeah.
So what they do, I get another fucking Z-Pack. They give me the steroids in the IV, blast it. Same steroids I'm taking, blast it in the IV. I'm like, well, there goes another fucking week sleep. And so I was there for a couple hours and was, okay, I left, got something to eat, went home. It really didn't do anything, but it did settle. That steroids just settle everything down in my chest to where I was back to good to go. The next day, my doctor's office called. Hey, we got your chest x-rays. You went in the emergency room. Yeah. And my general practitioner does know shit about COVID. I've learned that. I've asked about some monoclonal antibodies infusion. They're like, early on, I asked twice and I got denied both times. Nope, you're not old enough, not sick enough. That hydrochloroquine or whatever. Nope.
Yeah.
The other one, Resiverdol, whatever it's called. Nope. Not going to do it. It's not in our protocol. Because my oxygen levels weren't bad and they did an x-ray at the hospital, I didn't have pneumonia. They're like, That's all we care about is the respiratory part. I'm like, but I'm going blind from headaches, like fucking blind, blurred. I think I told you this.
Yeah.
So listen, I'm 51 years old. I have to wear reading glasses at some point, especially if it's dim. Well-lit room, not so much. On my phone, probably 50% of the time. But like if I do a FaceTime call with my granddaughters or you or something, I can see it. It's fine. Dude, I have 70-year-old eyes all of a sudden. I can't see shit on my phone, including video of FaceTime. I have to wear reading glasses to see it.
Wow.
Yeah, if I'm sitting outside, it's not so bad, but I'm telling you, it's weird. Looking up, good to go. On the phone, all of a sudden, I'm a fucking very old man. So that next week, back to pure hell of no sleep. I had to start watching different fucking YouTube videos because I'm like, I can't dream about fucking Sammy the Bull anymore. So I'm watching puppies and shit, all kinds of stuff, just music videos, and whatever it was would play on repeat over and over and over.
Cool.
And then it would fade off, and then I would be, Dr. Feelgood trying to fucking save my own life in the thing. And so one night, I think it was like Friday, the following Friday. So we're now coming up on the end of 2 weeks. I'm already past being contagious, and I'm at the point where I should be able to be outside. Right? I had a real good day that Friday. My dumb fucking ass mowed the lawn. Now I have a riding mower, so I was like, how hard can this be? Just riding. Well, I probably kicked up the pollen because, dude, I fell apart over that weekend. The coughing got worse. My O2 levels were still good, but the headaches, I can't describe how bad they are. So one night, I'm in the bedroom. I look over because it's on the other side of the hall here. I'm in the bedroom, and it's like 4 o'clock. Everything was like 4 a.m. and I'm almost completely blind. I can't see anything. There's a window and there's a light outside on my garage, and I can kind of see that. And I'm panicking, standing there. I'm fucking blind, dude. I cannot see. And I'm like, fuck, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I said, well, you can't go blind in one night. I don't think that's a thing.
No.
So I went to bed.
Yeah.
I laid back down. I rolled the dice. Well, let's see what happens. I went in. I actually fell asleep for an hour or so. Woke up and I could see. Headache was still there, but had subsided. Because I'd taken, fucking jams. I'm surprised I don't have kidney or liver problems, whatever it is that acetaminophen does. Jammed that in there, brought the fever down. When I'd gone to the emergency room, my fever was 100.9, which was the highest the whole time. And it would go up and down. That weekend was a living hell because what happened was the Wednesday prior, my kennel support lady started calling off for some other maladies of her own. And so I was crawling out of bed in the mornings and going to the kennel and dealing with the dogs. So what I do is I get to the kennel. I'd have to sit there for a little bit, catch my breath, go in, start breaking the dogs. One time I laid down in the back of the van for a while. I would get them all in the van, can't hardly breathe. I'm out of breath. I sit in the van for about 15 minutes and sleep just so I could get enough clear-headed to drive 8 minutes home. And dude, it was it was weird, man. I'd almost just about crawl into the house, fall asleep at the kitchen table. No one's home. Fall asleep at the kitchen table, eat something, then kick up on a recliner, and I was able to sleep. But the fatigue level was something I've never experienced. It's really strange. So come around that following Monday. So now we are 2 weeks. And I ended up firing the kennel lady that morning. So now it's just me. But I slept Sunday night. Took melatonin, dude, I stopped all the meds, all of them. Fuck it. Still had a couple pills of the steroids left. I think I stopped that maybe on Friday, and then just Monday morning, workable. So I go and go to the kennel, fire her. Then I start going to work, right? I'm meeting Jordan. He's doing all the handling. I would have to take naps during the middle of the day. Like we were at the fun house, he would leave. I'd go down on the couch and sleep. Go up to the pet building, just starting feeling better. But the whole time I have this weird feeling right here in my chest. And I tell people I can't describe what it is. It didn't hurt. It's where the cough lived, if that makes any sense to anybody whatsoever. Just this fuzzy, weird feeling in the center of my chest. So Sunday, so we are way into this 3 weeks. I posted a video from my boat, sitting on the boat in the dock, had a cocktail, first one, and I'm like, this is good. I think I said in the video something feels a little bit different, but that night, 4 o'clock in the morning, I turned over in my bed and pain shot through the right side of my body. I was like, what the fuck is that? Took a deep breath and another shooting pain. So what had happened is that weird feeling in the center of my chest moved over to the right side, and it felt like I pulled a muscle inside my chest cavity. It moved over there. I was like, yeah, something's up. That's not right. So that morning, well, I took ibuprofen at 4:30 in the morning, and it I was able to sleep. It chilled it out. Well, the next day I start working. I'm up at the building, and I can tell it's not good. Like I would cough or yawn. For God, for sake, if I yawned, it was just like that. So I went to the ER. Dude, I was there 9 hours. I was in the lobby for 3 hours. Then get in there, and I'm waiting on a CAT scan the entire time. They did all the tests and everything. The doctor comes in with a CAT scan. He shows me. I have a 2-inch hole in my lung from COVID. Cavitation, they called it, or an abscess. And it's filled with an infection.
What
right?
the fuck?
Yeah. He goes, this is the stuff we admit people for. But my fucking numbers were still in the 90s he's like, you look good. I go, yeah, but I don't feel good. So I got put in on this past Monday night, and then I was there till Thursday. Two IVs at the same time, 2 different antibiotics I'd never heard of. They probably took, I don't know, man, like 50 vials of blood over the week, but so that was Monday. Tuesday night, go to bed. I wake up Wednesday morning at 4 o'clock. The nurse comes in to change the bag, and I get up to go to the bathroom. I was like, ooh, I don't feel nothing. Pretty good. So the IVs are working. I felt good the whole rest of the time, but now I had to meet with the infectious disease doctor, pulmonary specialist, they thought I was going to have surgery. But then they figured out that the thing was not on the outside of my lung. They would have went and scraped it out. It's on the inside. So they're like, look, if we cut your lung open, you're fucked. Life altering. They said, we don't know what's going to happen because of COVID. They have no clue which way things go with this stupid fucking virus. So the pulmonary specialist is like, look, those of you who have post-COVID lung problems, you either clear up pretty much with no problem, you have some sort of permanent lung damage, or you're dead. And he's like, we don't know which way it goes. He goes, and if it goes the dead route, it's a few weeks dead. It just goes whoosh, like that. He goes, I don't think that's going to be a problem for you because you're not on oxygen. You're not having, the breathing problems. My cough is just some bullshit. But it, there is and he told his nurse practitioner said that the size of the hole in my lungs looks like I smoked 3 packs a day for like 20 years.
What the fuck?
So the infectious disease doctor took half my blood out of my body, I think, and sent it all off to the Cleveland Clinic to test for every type of bacteria they could. She, I guess, tested for some really obscure stuff. And I guess in Ohio, there's some things that live bacteria that you can get that's kind of germane to this area in the ground. I don't know. And whatever it was sitting in there dormant, and the virus then mixed in with it. And that's where the infection inside the lung came from. Well, I had to wait 2 days. I was in there for 2 days waiting. It's not bacterial. It's fungal. And now they took the other half of the blood out of my body, and they're doing all these tests to see what the fungus is that's in there. So they sent me home with a bunch of antibiotics, not the same in the IV, but pill antibiotics. And they said that the COVID actually can create the fungus.
Wow.
So,
seriously?
Yeah. So I don't know about your hospital. Here's something weird. I'm 51. I've never been hospitalized before. Never spent a night in the hospital, not once. Even on my motorcycle crash, they sent me home with a brain injury, sent me home. So I relate to people. So I talked to, they had my doctor, the one who oversaw kind of the whole thing, was a hospital internist or a general practitioner kind of guy.
Yeah.
And he just coordinates everything. Nice
Right.
guy, young dude. Him and I had some in-depth conversation. I think I sold him on a puppy board and train when he gets his puppy. But we had a
Always be closing.
lot, right? We had a long talk about stuff. And I told him, I said, listen, the internet's probably your worst enemy as a doctor. But I just asked him a lot of questions, and he was telling me things that they're seeing in COVID that, like what it does to blood vessels. He said January. He said that the hospital was a medical war zone because of Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Right.
That say there was 300 patients, 240 of them were COVID patients. So, but he said there were people that had blood clots down by their ankle that would run their artery all the way up to the edge of their heart, or from their heart over to other organs. Mass, any of that lets go, they're dead. And he said people had them on both legs, same thing, all the way up. And I think they probably all have a little bit of PTSD, because in the beginning they were treating it the way they would treat real bad flu with ventilators, and that killed everybody. But it was interesting because still we're however long into this, and they don't know why my daughter got a fever for 3 hours. You had no symptoms.
I had
this person
literally zero symptoms. And
right.
It's positive.
He said his cousin, I think it was, is a somebody marathon runner, now is on the heart transplant list from COVID.
What the fuck?
People dying, of course. No predictors. Obesity seems to be a big part of it. A lot of obese people die from it. Smokers. However, not all of them do that. A lot of them are fine. They have nothing. And that's throwing everybody off. So the reason why I tell the story is I still get people that believe that COVID is fake. And I'm telling you, it is not. However, for you, it might be nothing. It might be just the flu. It might be like Ted and Alicia both had nothing. They found it when they went to go on vacation.
I haven't been sick in 5 or 6 years. And we were supposed to go out of country, and we had to have a negative PCR test within 72 hours. And it was right after we came back from Salt Lake City. So it was like the first week of November. And I did the toilet brush and the nose thing and thought positive. And they were like, and Tulsa County Health Department called me. They're like, what symptoms have you had? I'm like, literally nothing. And they're like, no cough, no fever, no runny nose. I'm like, no, bro, nothing. No sore throat. And I was like, how accurate is the test? He was like, well, you have it. I'm like, okay. I'm like, and neither one of us, right? And so then they say, okay, well, you need to quarantine from the 10 days from the date of your last symptoms. I'm like, I don't fucking have any symptoms. Like, so they called me 9 days later, and they were all excited. They're like, oh, did you have any symptoms? I'm like, no, nothing. Like I have had no symptoms. I went to work, because I mean, my kennel is not open to the public, so I went to work, and because I felt fine, and worked puppies and worked police dogs with nobody else there, and so, and then when they called me, they said you can still test positive for 4 to 6 months.
Yeah,
I'm like, what the fuck? And then so now there's the whole vaccine thing, and then people are like, you still need to get the vaccine. I'm like, yeah, but I have the antibodies. They're like, well, there's more than one virus. I'm like, okay. And then I've had one doctor that's a friend of mine tell me, well, if you have the antibodies, you don't need it. And my general practitioner said the same thing. He's like, well, if you've already had it, he was like, it's not the same thing. And then now I saw somebody sent me a report the other day that if you have it, like, it's like getting chicken pox. Like, you can't get it again, but there's people that are getting it again. And they're like, well, but if people got it again, what is it? And they're like, well, it must not have been COVID. I'm like, well, I don't, so like nobody fucking knows. So I'm like, I'm still washing my hands and not licking doorknobs. So there's that.
Yeah. I got to start. So Tuesday I have a doctor's appointment with my doctor. And then I got to go see the infectious disease people. And then I got to go see the pulmonary specialist. That guy's going to be my case doctor, basically. So they were worried about blood clots and all that other stuff. And I got lucky there. It doesn't mean anything though, because all of this could go south tomorrow. And if it did, they didn't see it coming, because there's no rhyme or reason, no predictability whatsoever on the way it goes. So I'm not really sure that the antibiotics they gave me are strong enough, because when I hit the outer edge of the day, so I take them both in the morning at like 6:30,
Right.
and then come about 5:30 in that day, I can start to feel a twinge in that right side, just a little bit. And so I take the antibiotics, and it goes away. But it lasts till the morning. It's strange. It's probably my fucking head. There's probably no pain, but I can feel it. So I'm gonna talk to them. Maybe they'll change it. They said if the infection comes back, I got to go back in the hospital. They put a PICC line, which is surgery. They put a PICC line in there, and then I have to do an IV at home.
Oh,
I'd still rather do that in the hospital, though.
yeah.
So that sucked. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We come back. We are not talking about COVID anymore. We're going to talk about the Blueline Conference that just finished, and Ted taught at that. I was supposed to be there with him and didn't get to, but we're going to kind of recap that. And the boys have set the date and location for next year. So we'll be right back. All right, guys, this episode has been brought to you by great sponsors of ours. Please don't skip through this. Take a listen to them. One of our oldest sponsors and great friends of ours are the people down at Highland K9 down in North Carolina. I really like them. We see them at all the conferences. I know a lot of people have been to their school for dog trainers. They've been on the podcast. Highland K9, they're a full service canine and pet dog training business where they can train you to be a trainer. They can get you a dog. They have handler classes. They have supervisor classes. They have trainers courses for just LE. They have them for anybody who wants to be in the dog business, be a dog trainer of any kind. Check them out. Their website is tacticalpolicek9training.com, tacticalpolicek9training.com. If you are smart, you'll go down there in the winter. It is North Carolina. It is warm. You get to work dogs. It's no joke school, guys. You're not going down there for a month and rushing through it. They're actually trying to make you real deal dog trainers. Tacticalpolicek9training.com.
Next is a sponsor that's been with us for quite a while, Dogtra. I love Dogtra stuff, and they continually keep bringing out new products. One of the things that I've been using a lot lately is the new Tone Box. If you're a pet trainer or if you train a lot of police officers, and I harp at my guys all the time about timing, and this thing literally kind of pairs to the remote, and when you're using the remote, whether you're using Nick, Constant, or Vibrate, it makes a noise, so you can get the timing down 100% consistent. And so I can demonstrate how to do an out with an e-collar immediately, quickly, and it is so effective that I can't believe that it took me forever to figure it out to get that. They've also got these new comfort feather, like titanium things that go on the collars that are fantastic for making sure we got contact. It actually has 6 points, and this comes in 2 sizes, and it's a titanium feather thing. They're awesome. They got comfort contact points for the bark collars, the YS600, one of my favorite things. I have about 50 of them at the kennel, and it is dead silent. And I put them on all the pet dogs, and I can leave them on because they have the comfort contact points, and they're fantastic. All this stuff you can get at dogtra.com. And if you use the discount code WDR10, you get 10% off a single item over $200. So that covers the ball trainer. That covers the 1900 S hands free, which is my personal favorite for all the big dogs. It covers the 2-dog system, the 202C, which I use for the 2-dog pet guys, and fantastic. So dogtra.com, or go to @dogtraofficial on all the socials. That's Facebook, Instagram, all those places. So hit them up, dogtra.com.
Guys, I don't even shop any other sites when I'm looking for everything for dogs. Our one-stop shop for anything pet dog training and police dog training, hunt dog training, anything you need, you can find at rayallen.com. They have been doing it forever. We have a great relationship with them. Again, they're at all the conferences. You can stop up and talk to them. They have more stuff there than any place. rayallen.com. They are amazing. We have a great, really, really good relationship with those guys. Like I said, I get on their website. I do not look anywhere else. I just get on Ray Allen. Why should I? Fill up my cart, pay it, boom, shipping. Here we go. Everything's coming. rayallen.com. And guess what? We do have a discount code for them. Working Dog Radio for 10% off. It's all one, Working Dog Radio, and it's all caps. Check them out, rayallen.com.
I'm not too ashamed to admit that I used our own discount code to buy stuff for the kennel. We have American Aluminum next. They're a new sponsor for moving forward. They have been around for quite a while. They manufacture a wide variety of products from the high quality cam lockers and toolboxes to a huge line of products designed to meet the ever changing needs of law enforcement community. Back in 1992, due to the demand for safe, secure transport for a nearby law enforcement department's K9, they introduced the very first Easy Rider K9. They have continuously grown and expanded products catering to the needs and wants of the valued customers and high profile clientele. Over the years, as the needs have changed, they have evolved and expanded their products to include inmate transport systems, canine training aids, canine inserts, contraband, containment, and animal control systems, just to name a couple of things. So you can find them at easyrideronline.com. That is Easy Echo Zulu Rider Online.com. You can find them on the socials at American Aluminum Accessories. And then you can hit them up toll free 1-800-277-0869. You don't have to worry about writing all that down. We're going to put it in the show notes. So just scroll down to the bottom, write it down, click the link, takes you straight there out into your phone.
Our first sponsor we ever had, he's our ride or die. He's been with us since the beginning, is Arno over at ALM K9 Equipment. His stuff is so good. Ted, gets suits. Ted's suit, he's had it for a long time. Arno's fixed it. He's taken a million bites on it. It still holds up. The thing's amazing. I've got a suit from him. I love it. Use it all the time. But the main thing that I really love about Arno is his hidden sleeves are ridiculously amazing. They are the best. And his tugs. I usually buy tugs from Arno by the box load. He'll send me a whole bunch of them. I hand them out to the handlers, new handlers when they come in, experienced handlers. They last for a long time. They're amazing. The craft work is great. Arno's doing all the sewing there. He's got pre-made suits. He can do custom-made suits, everything you need out there. And he's out there in sunny Las Vegas. Get on his website, check him out, almk9equipment.com, almk9equipment.com. Discount code WD Radio, all caps, 10% off your first order. Check them out. All right, we are back. Working Dog Radio, broadcasting the bite. I didn't tell the story previous to get sympathy at all. I just was kind of telling a fucking freaky story. It was weird, dude. Like fucking weird. Rolling the dice to see if I was permanently blind or not was interesting. But anyways, so this past week was the Blueline seminar. The entire leading up to the Blueline, Alicia was saying, I don't think you should go. I don't think you should travel. You probably shouldn't go. And she was right. Yeah. But because I fired the kennel lady, I ended up having to do the kennel by myself. So I canceled, which is good because I did not want to be in a St. Louis hospital by myself. No. But so the show must go on, right? So Ted went and we got another guy to replace me. And I saw pictures. It looked like you had a fucking huge crowd in your rooms. So let's talk about the conference as a whole.
Super well run. Matt and Joe, we had them on, I think about a month ago. It was like, I think it was the episode before, the Ted handler, before you got the Rona. And, so it was it was super well run. Matt and Joe did a great job. They had several instructors that were planned to be there that, couldn't be there, one, because of COVID, or two, just travel restrictions. There was some guys that had family stuff pop up. So they had quite a few instructors like fall out. We had some other guys fill in. Like for instance, you didn't show up. So we had Billy, who had taught at the HRD in Tennessee, the last one, from Longmont PD and Bellator K9. He filled in for you. Filled in very well. Had lots of relevant goods. And I had to tell your stories and say fuck a lot because that's what you do. So I had to tell all the Eric stories. But I mean, it was the conference. It was well received. It was interesting because I got to see. I finally got to meet a lot of the guys that we have interviewed, like Michael Kamisic. He taught on the same time as us both days, but I got to meet him in person. Salsa, got to meet Don Slavic in person, and we'll talk about something that Don and I talked about for about an hour before my second presentation, but. It was interesting going through the list of people that were there, and like most of the instructors have been on the show. There was a couple that I wanted to interview the guy from Mass State that was the bomb guy, dog handler for forever. Super nice guy, knows his shit now. He's a DOD something or other. He's like secret squirrel shit now, like a contractor or something. But super nice guy and very very knowledgeable. But yeah, it was a great conference. They did a great job. The hotel was super nice, great rooms. Not in the best area of town, and Matt and Joe didn't realize that. It got kind of sketchy down there at night, which wasn't that big of a deal. But outside of that, I mean, it was fantastic. There was good food. I hung out with Tara's crew and some other handlers from West Virginia. One night we went to the oyster bar down the street, and then yeah, I mean, so got to see a lot of HRD graduates and a lot of people that have been through either my handler schools. Several of your handlers were there.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, it was a good show for sure. One of the things that was the best, though, the highlight of the show was Mike Jones from Primal K9 started this on Instagram, and the first person that went up and would tag Matt Wilson from Ray Allen K9 in the nuts would get some free Primal K9 gear. And then, of course, Worthless Handler jumped in on it. So the entire show, it was an interesting to watch everybody run around. I was like, I'm glad I'm not part of this. I just kind of stayed back on the wall. I'm like, watch these idiots run around and try and tap each other in the nuts. But and of course, Gary did his hide the swag thing and hide it on Instagram. They had some him and Sergeant Stellan were running around hiding stickers and patches and stuff. So it was a good show. I was pleasantly surprised, given the shit show that 2020 was, and the fact that Matt and Joe were from Western Penn, Pennsylvania, and they were able to plan it in St. Louis and get it done. And I mean, it was good. I was very surprised, or not surprised, very pleased that it went as well.
What was the class you taught?
We taught building street dogs through scenarios or scenario-based trainings. Basically, a modified version of the presentation we give on the first day of our HRD stuff. I put some other stuff in there, and we talk about some other stuff because they obviously you're not going to get to see it for the next 2.5 days. So, but yeah, there was it was well received. We got a lot of people that were we got a lot of good feedback on it. So
I was going to say, did you get some good people stick around and talk to you afterwards?
Oh yeah, we had several people stick around, talk to us. I've already gotten a couple of emails from people. Every time I do that, and I do that here too, and I'll get you can reach out to me however you want, Instagram or Facebook or email or text message if you want. My phone number's on the internet, and that they have problems with dogs engaging, or they just need help with a scenario, like thinking of a scenario. We had one. The second day, a handler came up to me and they had tried to deploy a dog into a car that had just been stop stripped. And something happened. They hit something and all the airbags deployed.
Oh,
and
shit.
The dog had done car deployments before, right? And the windows were down, but the side curtain, if you're not watching on YouTube, the side curtain airbag was covering up the window, and the dog couldn't figure out how to get into the car. And I was like, oh, that's a new one. So they asked, they're like, how would you do it? I'm like, just fucking use a sheet. I mean, it's not, I mean, just teach them, so we went through and they're like, oh yeah. And sometimes the easiest answer is the obvious answer is the easiest.
Yeah. Then you feel stupid, but you're not. You just,
no, yeah. I mean, they're just, she's, and the handler, she was like, oh yeah, I guess that makes a lot of sense. And so I kind of like walked her through it. So it'd be interesting to see. And I guess it's a nice dog. The dog he's relatively new, but they're like, oh, he's done it in training. And I mean, it's just, they haven't done it with. I mean, who thinks that shit up though? I mean, now I'm gonna do it. Like now I'm like, oh, so I heard this, handler from this place did this one time, so we're gonna hang a fucking sheet over the door after showing, so the dog knows how to get through an airbag. I mean, and I mean that's kind of shit. I mean, it's an environmental problem, but it's one that I only need to see it once, but I don't want it the first time they see it. Or if I can find a car that's actually been smoked, just use it.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to dip in and out of anyone's classes?
Yeah, I poked my head into Howard's, and Howard had a fucking million people in his.
Of course, and he deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely. He said he tried to cram too much information in, and and Howard's kind of has that way of presenting, so I can kind of see him trying to do that. And he was like, "Yeah, I need to kind of like thin it out."
It's easy to try. I mean, we've done it. We've had to modify our HRD presentation 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. We've done ours so much so like I had ours down too. I mean, I was finishing in like an hour and like 58 minutes. I was like 2 minutes to spare. So like we had that shit wired. We've done it so many times, but Howard, I poked my head into Howard's. I poked my head into Don's. I put my head into LJ's, the guy, the bomb guy from Massachusetts. And I wanted to see Kamisix from Sheepdog Guardian, like the consulting, the case law guy, but he was teaching both days at the same time that I was.
No,
So I didn't get to poke my head into any of those. I feel like a dickhead, but the guys running the admin one, I poked my set in there for about 30 minutes. And they're from California, and they were good. In fact, I think we should probably have them on and talk about it.
nice. Yeah.
I mean, it was like some really, really good info. But yeah, I mean, so next year though, they are having it again.
Yeah, I pulled it up here. So
Pittsburgh.
they're not dicking around. Like,
No. Yeah.
Pittsburgh is where they want to be. A lot of people are like, why are they in St. Louis this year? Because the governor of Pennsylvania is a Nazi and still was not allowing any kind of gatherings whatsoever. So they had to move it. Or they probably could have had in Pittsburgh if they wanted to pay triple the amount that they were supposed to. But they scheduled it April 26, 27, 28 in 2022.
Yeah.
In Pittsburgh. Yep. And if it's the same hotel they did last time, dude, that thing is nice.
And there's that taco place around the street that was really good. Yeah.
It's right downtown, right at the point of Pittsburgh where Three Rivers comes in. It's a nice place, man. So nobody's getting shot outside of there either.
So that happened in St. Louis.
Yes, right.
Wagner sent me a video. Somebody got shot out in front of the hotel the first time I got there. Not anybody attending, just normal St. Louis stuff.
Wow, that's terrible.
Yeah,
but I'm glad it went forward and we didn't have to cancel all of us. Because and you're right. I talked to Joe and they had several people had canceled for various reasons, and when I had to call and tell him that I was canceling, I felt really bad about it. I really did. That's funny because I told him on that Monday that I was canceling, and I was in the hospital that night. So it was fucking
But Billy filled in. He did a great job. He knocked it out of the park. I mean, he had a lot of good stuff a lot of good input to add. He runs that dog he runs Rudy on their SWAT team there, and he's a patrol handler too. I mean, but he's squared away. So yeah,
cool.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Yeah, you guys notice we do not have a guest in this episode because we didn't know if I was going to be able to do it or not, and we were up against it. So yeah, we'll talk about some shit. You see that beard? It's not great, but
you got a little bit to catch up. You'll be all right.
Oh yeah. So we tapered it. My wife got the clippers out, tapered it. So the problem is my hair is so curly, dude. I'm gonna have to get to the flat iron stage at some point, hopefully. But
when it's it gets like this long is when it gets ridiculous and uncomfortable. And then once it gets past that, you're fine.
Yeah, I just gotta. Well, I take a little thing. I trim the crazy, the summer hair, there. But anyway, so where can you be found again? Even though we said it earlier, tell everybody where you're at.
Ted_Summers on the Instagrams, along with Torchlight K9, letter K number 9, and Torchlight Pets. If you want to see me training a deaf pit bull, that was interesting. Yeah, her name is Cannon. She doesn't know what it is though, but we had some videos of me training her, and then the silky coated penis weasel. I just finished a 4-pound Yorkie with a tiny little e-collar. He has one of the teeny tiny little dog dresses like this big, and even the remote is tiny. I mean, it's a little bitty thing. And then of course the podcast is working_dog_radio, and then HRD please K9, letter K number 9. All that is the same thing on Facebook and Instagram. What about you?
Van S K9 on Instagram and Facebook. Now is just police dogs. I haven't put that much on the Facebook page since we switched. Ridgeside K9 Ohio is the brand for the pets. Shit tons of content on there. It's just pictures of dogs and dog owners. But if you're kind of new to the Facebook side of marketing for your pet dog business, go check out Ridgeside K9 Ohio on Facebook and Ridgeside K9 LLC on Facebook. Take a look at the way we do it and emulate that.
Yeah.
3 posts a day, Just pictures, no videos needed. Videos, too many people scrutinize them for bullshit. Good quality,
Yes.
Use portrait mode type. What's that?
Yeah, use portrait mode.
Yeah, portrait
I
mode.
get yelled
all
at
that.
the time.
You got to use it. Put it up there. Put the information about your business, and then share it to your personal page. That's free, and I'm telling you, it affects the algorithm. You'll see an uptick immediately on your leads that you'll get calls in. Make sure in your information you put call or text the phone number that you want them to, because a lot of people only want to text. Cool, we'll book a dog through text. What do we care?
Yeah, that's me.
You know what I mean? We prefer to do that.
The best time to call me is text.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I like it. That's a good one.
Well, because I've missed like 4 phone calls during this interview, and they're all clients, and I'm like, send me a fucking text, because now I'm gonna have to call back and be like, what do you want? Or I won't say. I'll text them and be like, oh, can I help you? So yeah, so the best time to call me is text.
Yep. So take a look at there. We got Patreon, Working Dog Radio, workingdogradio.com. Still some amazing t-shirts up there. Good, fun t-shirt designs. We haven't really promoted that much lately. We need to brainstorm, come up with a couple new designs for the summer.
Yeah.
We still got some great classic ones up there. The Make America Bite Again is one of the best t-shirts we ever came up with, and the Out This is a fan favorite. So really like it. But anyways, man, I'm glad I'm upright.
Yeah.
And not in a hospital gown. Alicia wanted me to wear a hospital gown for the interview, maybe draped off my one shoulder so my nipple shows or something. I don't know, but so enough of that. Listen, by the way, after the first day, I put underwear on under that bitch. I don't know how people sit naked in fucking hospital gowns. I had to move. One of the techs would have seen my balls. I was like, no, nah, not doing that, man. Screw that. So nobody wants to see 51-year-old balls. So anyways, have a good Memorial Day. Remember why we have Memorial Day, guys. Yep. It's not for your picnic. It's not for your barbecue. It's not for my boat. It's to remember those who gave their lives so that we can do this type of stuff. And we appreciate those people and all of their families. So thank you. And we'll see you at another time.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
All right.